I want to ask you something that might be the most convicting question you hear all week, right? If God can see, like really see in real time, the way you treat your spouse when no one else is watching, would he be honored? I ain't talking about just in the big moments. I'm talking about that tone, the eye roll, the silence that's really punishment, the way you withhold love when you're hurt, the way you cut when you feel disrespected. That's what I'm talking about, because what the word says about it all, it changes everything when we filter what we're doing through the word. Because like after betrayal or incident in our marriage, the way you treat your spouse becomes complicated. Because the person standing in front of you is the same person who shattered something sacred. I get it. I get the feelings of anger, disgust, grief. I get the distance. Like, yeah, your feelings are real and they are valid. But God doesn't let us stop there and operate from our feelings. Matthew 25:40 says, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. And if that's true in the streets, with strangers, with the poor, with the overlooked, how much more is it true with your covenant? The person God joined you to, the person he is still working on, the person he has not given up on, even if you have. How you treat your spouse is how you treat Jesus. The contempt, the cruelty dressed up as honesty, the silent punishment, the withholding of grace you yourself needed and received. Like, God sees it and he takes it personally. Now hear me clearly. This is not permission for abuse. Don't hear what I'm not saying. This is not a call to stay silent about real wounds or real wrongs, because accountability is still required. Truth is still necessary and boundaries are still biblical. But the spirit from which you engage, the tone, the posture, whether you bring grace or you bring warmth to every interaction, that is a spiritual act. And God is watching, not to condemn you, but to call you higher. Ephesians 4:32 says, be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other just as Christ, God, forgave you. Just as, right? The same way, with the same grace, right, that you didn't deserve. That's the standard, and it's only possible through the Spirit, not through willpower. So family, what would it look like, right? A marriage where both of you look at each other and see what God sees. Not just what was done, but what is being built. Where every interaction, even the hard ones, is seasoned with the same grace that saved you. Where your marriage becomes an act of worship, because the way you love each other is the way you love Jesus. This is what I want you to think about, right? Think about that last interaction you had with your spouse. The tone, the words, the energy you brought. Now ask yourself, if that was directed at Jesus, would I do it the same way? Let that question sit. Let it change something in you before your next conversation, okay?